briefly why people should vote for you and not Mark Newman. What are the differences? And we'll get to Barrett later.
Okay. 8 years ago, coming as the county executive. And I mean, you think about the time, not only a pension scandal, but you had, under my predecessor, property taxes had gone up 55%, obviously an extreme lack of confidence in government. You had all sorts of other structural problems. And certainly we're not perfect. We're constantly making changes. But you look at the things we've done over the last 8 years. We've cut our debt. In fact, there's on a sheet here we talk a little bit later about how we've cut our outstanding debt. In fact, through 2012, it'll be down 30% from when I first took office. We talk a little bit later there about the government workforce is down by about 20%, largely either through attrition or through contracting out for services. Because of that, in fact, on the sheet we talk about debt, we talk about the bond rating agencies and how even though the states has gone down during that time period, ours was improved. And the statements they put about our fiscal management. And we've done, as I pledged, which you guys don't always appreciate, or not as appreciate, but you don't always agree with. You may appreciate it, just don't agree with. Kept my pledge to not raise the property tax levy from the previous year in each of the last 8 budgets. And we did all that a year ago, even in tough times with a surplus. Now, we've also improved things along the way. We've, look at our airport. We made nearly $200 million with investments there, and that's paid off, and that we have literally the fastest growing airport in America and the 3rd fastest growing airport in the world. We've attracted nearly 1,000 new airline related jobs out there. Our fares are some of the lowest in the country. You look in social services, we eliminated the waiting list for long-term care services for our seniors, for older adults in the community. Before I came in, there were 3,000 people on a waiting list. We eliminated that entirely. We've made changes in other areas. You look at our parks because of our partnerships and bringing Sue Black and others in. A year ago, we won the gold medal for the best park system in the country. The reason I say all that is, to me, the argument being difference between me and not just my primary opponent, but anybody else, is nobody else has inherited something more like what the next governor will face and taken it on. Okay. Now, 2 specific things. I think when you look at the difference between me and our primary opponent, one is you look at the difference in terms of budgeting. I mean, it's certainly I appreciate his time in Congress and being one of 435 there. But when he talks about, for example, across the board cuts and keeping spending at the rate or below the rate of inflation, I mean, that's something we don't just talk about. We've done. If you look at our operating budgets over the last 8 years, they're under the rate of inflation here in Milwaukee County, even with the increases the county board added over my vetoes. When you look at budgeting, though, I don't think an across-the-board cut is the way to do it. I think when you do that, that means important issues get cut just as much as others. So, for example, in our budgets, we've made, we put a higher priority on public safety. We've even done it even in terms of how we administer the budgets. We do furloughs, unlike the city of Milwaukee or even the state of Wisconsin. We exempted public safety and direct patient care positions so that we weren't furloughing people that were going to cost us, not only in terms of services, but cost us time and a half in many cases where you got 24/7 posts. That to me is a higher priority. So you put your priorities first and then you fund the others there. You don't do it just all across the board. Madison, the governor, did it across the board. So you got correctional officers in state prisons who are being furloughed, time and a half to replace. Mayor of Milwaukee did the same thing with police officers in the city of Milwaukee. That's one difference. The other difference is with, it's talked about again the other night in the debate, the property tax proposal that the congressman puts out. And it's really, he talks about $11 billion property tax cut. It's not a property tax cut. Ask any local official around the state and they'll tell you it's just a tax shift. He's talking about skipping the payment from December of 2011 and not having to make that until of January of 2012 and then making a monthly payment to make the rest of that 2012 payment. Well, it doesn't cut your taxes. It just defers when you pay them. And the even more frustrating part about that is for anybody who itemizes their taxes, if they claim that payment, their property tax payment on their federal income tax bill, it'll actually be a tax increase for their 2011 income taxes. So it doesn't cut it. And the best way I tried to call it on him the other night when he said, well, yeah, you just don't get it. Well, sure, I absolutely get it. I get it as a local government official. If you say you're going to cut taxes by $11 billion, but you don't cut any spending, how can you do that? You can't. No local governments will see any less spending or any less revenue. All that means is they'll just get a delay into when they get it, which causes all sorts of other structural challenges for them, but it doesn't save you or anybody else who pays property taxes any money. Those are the, most of the other stuff, pretty similar, but those are some of the bigger differences.